So today is actually the second Sunday after Epiphany. While we were last week renewing our covenant to live and serve as God's people using John Wesley's beautiful words, as we were remembering our baptisms and dipping our hands in the precious gift of water, Epiphany came and went. But I don't think it's too late to back up a bit and look at this special day on the Christian calendar. I was hard-pressed to know which one to pick last week, so you're getting both 2 weeks in a row. Anyway, you see Epiphany, though, it's okay, because Epiphany is not only a particular day, January the 6th, but it is also a season, and it lasts from January the 6th through Fat Tuesday, the day before Ash Wednesday. And so we find ourselves in the season of revealing and light and gift and giving and recognition that Jesus is not only fully human, but also fully divine. The main topic of Epiphany is Jesus' manifestation of himself as God. Epiphany takes its name from the Greek epiphania, which denotes the visit of a God to earth. Reverend Alan Brim writes, during this time of year, we read stories from Jesus' life that show how Jesus revealed that he truly was the light that was coming into the darkness. That's why we celebrate Epiphany. It's a time to remind ourselves that in him a light has dawned that will never go out. A light of faith and hope and joy that shines in all kinds of darkness that can afflict this world. And so we turn to the stories, events in which Jesus' divinity shines through his humanity. And he is revealed as God incarnate. In fact, another meaning of Epiphany is revealing, taking away of the veil that covers something. The Magi are among the first to see that this is no ordinary baby to which the star has led them. A king is born. And not just a king for the Jews. This story in Matthew's gospel reveals that not only is Jesus worshipped by shepherds and angels, by commoners and royalty, but also perhaps more importantly, Jesus is worshipped by Jews and Gentiles alike. These men were pagan Gentiles. In Jesus, God is doing something not only for the chosen ones, the Hebrew people, the nation of Israel, but God is also reaching out to everyone, everywhere, inviting them to know wholeness and salvation and new life. They too are to be included in the kingdom of heaven. God throws open wide the doors and truly welcomes all. We know these exotic people from the East are affected by having knelt at the feet of the Christ because they leave that encounter changed people. They never give a second thought to returning to Herod. He could never offer them anything greater than what they had found in this child. They go home a different way, by a different road, and we can assume they are quick to tell others of all they have seen and experienced, because they too are different. They thought they were going to see a great and mighty king living amidst splendor and grandeur. Instead, they encounter something so different, so astonishing, so amazing that they themselves are changed by the encounter. Often when we hear Epiphany stories, we are led to focus on the gifts the Magi bring. Gold, frankincense, myrrh. And we wonder, like the little drummer boy, what gift can I bring? What do I have to offer? How can I adore this new king by sharing my gifts, graces, talents with the church and with all of God's people? But what if this year we go somewhere else, concentrate on something else? Yet another theme of Epiphany is light. Elsa Cheney writes, Epiphany demands that, like these kings, we should return to our own countries a different way. carrying to all those we meet the light of Christ. During Advent, the world was in darkness, and we prayed and waited in the spirit of the Jewish nation, which lived in expectation of the coming light during thousands of years. At Christmas, light shone forth, but dimly, seen only by a few around the crib, Mary, Joseph, the shepherds. But at Epiphany, the light burst forth to all nations, and the prophecy is fulfilled. The Gentiles shall walk in thy light, and kings in the brightness of thy rising. We too are to be light in the darkness. You know, we seldom include it in our children's pageants when the wise men enter the stage. But before the Magi reach Jesus, they do what? They visit Herod, right? We don't often focus on this darkness in the story, but Matthew included it perhaps to remind us that the world was in darkness when Jesus arrived. And if we're honest, we have to admit that there is still darkness surrounding far too many these days. Darkness still abounds in our world, our lives: oppression, war, sex trafficking, drug addiction, poverty, famine, greed, power mongering, fear. You know, fear is a powerful thing. It led Herod and the scribes and Pharisees to conspire to kill this child Jesus. They feared this one they were hearing about. They feared that a new king would upset their apple carts, put an end to their greed and their selfishness. At this point in the story, they don't succeed in killing Jesus. But Herod does order the murder of baby boys in the area, what the church calls the Feast of Holy Innocents. Later, of course, the powers that be manage to let darkness overcome. They act on their fears and they kill the one who is the light of the world. Perhaps this season of Epiphany, we can begin to conquer our fears and let our light shine. But it's scary to talk to others about my faith. You know, they might think I'm some kind of weirdo. What if I start giving away more of my material resources to those in need, to the church? Will there be enough left for me? I don't know how to pray for others. What if I do it wrong? I'd like to invite people to church, but I'm shy. Random acts of kindness sound intriguing, but you know, I'm not a good listener. I'm not a good speaker. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. What if we ask God to give us courage and all the other things we need to do what God is calling us to do? What if we ask for courage to do what God is calling us to do? But you know what? Here's the really good news. If we don't manage to do all that God is calling us to do, even if we fail miserably, if we don't share the light of Christ, when we hoard or covet or cheat or betray, whatever, Emmanuel still bears the promise that God has truly seen who and what we are and loves us still, forever, through this life and into the next. Thanks be to God. Amen.